Hello everybody, it is that time of the week. It is time for your art adventure. Before I begin, I have to say that this is actually going to be the last art lesson video for the Art Hub that I make for a little while. And that's because I'm going off from next week to have a baby, which is really exciting. But of course, I'm going to miss all of you. Now, over the coming months, I'll try to update the website, so keep your eyes peeled for some ad hoc lessons that'll be appearing there. And of course, keep on emailing me what you make and what you do. There's loads of lessons on there that you can go back to, return to, try for the first time. And as always, send your work to share@londonsouthArtHub.org. I'd be delighted to check in and see how you're all doing. But without further ado, this week we are going to look at fascinating etching style of Swiss-German artist Paul Klee. Paul Klee is one of the most famous artists of the 20th century, and I really think you're going to love him. Something very interesting about Paul Klee, new word for you perhaps, is that he was ambidextrous. He wrote with his right hand and he painted with his left hand. As you can see here, many of his paintings and drawings look like lines stacking up on top of each other. They're very playful doodles indeed. Paul Klee was also really interested in the theory of colour. He loved to use bright, vibrant colours in his artwork and incorporated these with intricate, really detailed patterns. As I mentioned, Paul Klee made all kinds of lines in his artworks. Some of them look as if they were actually scratched out of the paint itself. Now today I'm going to show you how to make similar kinds of marks by scratching lines out of paint covered wax. And I'm just using wax crayons to do this. It's really quite straightforward. This is called scratch art or crayon etching. Let me show you how to do it. To begin with, I position my paper, my sugar paper, horizontal. You choose the orientation, and I'm going to draw a little dash border around so I know what I am drawing within. I've got my black acrylic paint and my brush ready. The first thing to do is to totally cover the whole blank area of the page with waxy crayons. If your crayons are blunt, a quick way to sharpen them is just tear off the paper. This is my long cocktail stick type tool, which I'm going to use to scratch away at the end of the drawing. We don't need that to the end. Very important that first step, we entirely cover the page. This is really abstract. I'm not really putting too much thought into the design here, but more about using light, bright colours. Colours that complement each other too. Zingy colours are best for this, I think, because they contrast against the black well. That's me ready, brushing off any excess crayon wax, and I now take my paintbrush lightly dipped in water and begin systematically, that means carefully and methodically, painting over with black acrylic paint. I want to put it on thickly but evenly, so I don't want there to be a lot of paint in some areas and there to be a thin amount in others. No, it has to be the same thickness throughout.
and then leave that to dry thoroughly overnight. But if you don't have acrylic paint, or you'd rather stick to dry options, you can do a second coat of black with oil pastels. So here I am again. I start with my wax crayons, filled up my page with the wax crayons, take the oil pastels, choose the black one, and my second layer will be an entirely black one, just as it was with the paint, but this is a drier option, slightly less messy maybe. Although do take care because it smudges off on your fingers and your thumbs, as I discovered. Great, I don't need to let that dry, that's ready to etch on too. So here I am using my long cocktail stick. I'm inspired by Paul Klee's drawings of towns and countrysides, and I've decided to start with some rolling hills here, adding in some little houses nestled in the hillside with cheerful pointy roofs. He also liked to break landscapes down into shapes, so maybe you could think about how you could represent your local neighbourhood using just simple shapes. Bit of a sunset here. This is the cool bit. When you scratch away block areas, look at the colour that is revealed behind. It so pops out. And the lighter, the brighter the colours of wax crayons use underneath, the better the effect. So I'm combining some illustrative drawing with just some pattern making. Not putting a lot of forethought into it. I'm kind of just seeing where my lines go. Paul Klee was a great believer of taking a line for a walk. Where will your lines go on their walk? Finally, some celebration here and also further inspiration. This is Paul Klee's fig tree, which he drew using just one line without taking his pencil off the page, like Zoe has done here in year 1, along with her classmates. I love the different marks that Riley and Peggy have combined: zigzags, curly lines, straight lines. So effective. And then, like Aisha, coloured in nice contrasting colours, paying attention to the bark like Alicia, the branches like Kea. Maybe you could be inspired to make a tree too.
Well, that's it for me for this week and for a little while. I'm really excited to see how you get on this week and over the coming months. I'm coming back to school at Easter time next year, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how you've all developed in your art making over that period of time. And as I say, please do stay in touch with the email address. I'm so proud and just delighted with everything that I've seen you share this year. And I have to say, you really do make this the best job in the world. Take care, everybody, and see you all very, very soon.